Yeah, I was just thinking of the song on the Chronic. The
Yep,
day
that's
the
exactly
music
what I
was over.
thought of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Dr. Dre too,
But it's
man.
like
He
the
seemed like he
complete
met him.
inverse of that.
Right. I'm
Yeah, that
hoping.
was yeah, that was good. Yeah, that they got that news out quick too. That he apparently wasn't doing too bad.
Yeah.
Right. Which a brain aneurysm is. I
Nothing to
don't know
play
what
with, man.
too. Right. I don't know what not too bad for that is.
You can have a
Well,
small
if you're
one,
not
like my
dead, I mean, yeah, right. If it
true,
if it doesn't
true.
take you out right away, that's not bad.
That's pretty good.
But you,
My
yeah,
old
but you
man,
can you
them,
can
my
recover
old
from
man.
you can recover from them.
Yeah, my old man family, my grandmother who passed away recently. I guess is family here, family. I should say family heritage, family history, medical history. My old man, he's my stepfather. My old man, his family is prone to aneurysms, and yeah, they're like my aunt had. I think my aunt had one, and my old man had one. Well, almost had one. It was close to it. Last year. So
Man.
yeah, they
Yeah,
ain't nothing to play with. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just that would have. I was just thinking on the heels of doom how messed up that would have been if something else tragic like that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been
And
tough
this
to
show,
deal with.
this show was gonna be. I'd have rather just talked about Doom today, but I had to switch it up because of what happened in DC today.
You have to call the audible because of.
Like, yeah, I mean, we are gonna do a Doom tribute thing hopefully tomorrow, but
Okay.
today, I mean, how can you talk about anything else? But the day the Numbnuts tried to take over, at least in DC, and really just one of the another unconscionable and despicable day in a long line of them that we're going to be able to associate with the Donald Trump presidency. If it would, I would hope that this would be the last night of his presidency, but it's probably not because
I mean,
No.
we still got
you turned on.
14 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, I know that, but I'm just saying I would like if everything was made sense. Well, if everything made sense, he would have been president in the first place. But if we had reactions to sensible reactions to actions, he should be getting thrown out on his ass tonight. But it's
Exactly.
not gonna happen. But
Yeah.
I was just saying I turned at 7 to them that the coverage they showing them rejoining, the Senate rejoining and stuff, and of course, Pence and then McConnell got up there acting like they were Jimmy Stewart making some
That's a good one.
whole speech of a movie like we're not going to shut down and all crap, putting on their
They,
hero voices.
yeah.
But they all fed into this monster,
Right.
man. They all fed into this. Whatever allegory you want to make, a monster feed into a monster, the chickens coming home to roost. All this was bound to happen. And
Hmm.
I guess I just turn it over to y'all. Let it go right away. What do y'all think about today, and just what it means, and you know, just I think about how worse it could have been too. It could have been worse, but all of it still was just so not necessary. You know,
I
I
agree
don't
with
know.
you. I think Cuzzo and everybody. It was a lot of things running through my head when I was watching this. Um, this was the ultimate show of white privilege. I mean, these cats were literally kind of like led into the Capitol. You just can't walk up to the Capitol like this. Yeah, it
Oh
was a lot
yeah.
of them. There's a lot of them,
Yeah.
but I mean, there's been plenty of videos with either cops moving barricades and you could even say like, listen, okay, we can't really do. They about to bum rush us. Okay, let's just try to see if we can corral them in some kind of way. But then you have video coming out with one of the police officers there, Capitol Police officer taking a selfie
Yep.
with one of these domestic terrorists. So,
Yep.
number one, that's the ultimate sign of white privilege. Number two, well, I could say 1A to 1B. Lord knows if this was people that look like us, what would have happened? They would have Marty McFly went and got the water hoses at Selma and brought them to the Capitol and sprayed our asses. They would have found some kind of way to make sure that we felt it. That this is not something that can't be done. And we see pictures of these people, these domestic terrorists, sitting in elected officers' chairs, stealing from them, walking through the halls with a podium. That's some wild shit. I've seen black folks steal gym shoes. I never seen nobody steal a podium.
Gotta have that momentum. Gotta have that momentum. That's your piece of democracy.
I mean, what, you invite people over? Hey, look what I stole.
No, that's souvenir.
It's your piece of democracy, D. You're taking your piece of democracy.
My
He needed
God.
that souvenir, man. He needed that on the mantelpiece.
The
Like,
guy with the
tried.
podium. The guy with the
This is my
podium was
tool.
taking it. That's what he was
Wait a minute. I've seen people steal TVs and you walk in the house like, where the hell you get that from? Oh, I got sweetie. I hit a sweet lick. You walking in this dude's house, it's like, is that the podium from the Senate floor?
Yeah.
Really? I mean,
Like,
this
yo,
is what we coming
check out
to.
what I got.
Yeah,
Check out
look what I
on
got.
my
I got Nancy
50.
Pelosi cable bill.
And third, which is to your point, Cuzzo, it could have been a lot worse. A woman died. This woman who have been lied. This woman has been lied to. Conspiracy theory, ratcheted up from the president to Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and all the rest of those senators. Minority Leader McCarthy over there in the House, ratcheted up. This woman has lost her life over a lie. My God, lost her life over a lie. My last point, and I get off this. A lot of people have been saying two things. One, oh wow, I want the president to just say something. They tell him to go home. They'll stop. Listen, man, this might not be the end of it. He has spit, lit on fire, and poked the monster, and then said, "I'm going to open the gate to the town, and here you go." Number one. Number two. What are people thinking when they say, oh, this is just, this will, not saying it will blow over, but what we saw today was an attempt of a political coup in the United States of America. That's what we saw today, an attempted coup. It failed. But it's an attempted.
The legal term is sedition.
Sedition? Thank you, Cuzzo. A sedition. We saw am I saying it right? A sedition or just sedition? It doesn't matter.
Sedition.
We saw some. Yes, this is that. We saw some domestic terrorists. Sedition, right? We saw domestic terrorists storm the Capitol of the United States of America. I don't want to hear not damn person talking about black folks and whatever. Not saying I'm supporting rioting. I'm not doing that. But damn it, it's a whole big difference riding 79th Street and riding in the capital of the United States of America. That's all I got to say. As I probably spark up this cigar because I need it today.
Let's do the James Worthy.
I need it today. I mean, if today was the one feeling where I felt like I'm just glad it wasn't. I want to say glad it wasn't us. I mean,
keep y'all black asses at home. This got nothing to do with y'all.
I mean, this was a day I felt a bit of moral or racial superiority. That's the one. If anything, I told Kyle I was listening to "Every Nigga Is a Star," the original version earlier today. Mm-hmm. But it just made me feel like I'm happy not to be these fools.
Man.
Yeah, it is. It is quite surprising. This really, we really didn't have anything to do with this in any way.
You have a few stragglers out there. Like, what is this brother out here doing? Looking a lost,
Yeah.
lost soul right
I saw
here.
a couple of
He's a
those
lost
Yeah,
soul.
the dude in the
out there?
Crenshaw jacket.
Yeah,
And,
like what
yeah.
did you just stumble upon
Yeah,
this?
the
Just
dude-
walking to the
yeah.
corner store? Like, damn, what happened? How I get here?
Yeah.
What are you doing now?
Maybe he was at a field trip or something and got lost. I don't know.
Somebody found that brother. What was your black ass doing?
He
There?
probably was at a halfway house in Virginia or something.
Oh my god!
I think the thing that struck me the most was everybody coming on and saying they were so incredulous. This is the type of thing that you expect to see in, what did they say, in Bosnia or in
Third world countries.
Bogota.
Mhm.
That was the good one. This is something you expect to see in Bogota. And they're reading this statement from George W. Bush about this is what you would expect in a banana republic, not the United States of America. It's like, hey, let's all get it straight. The emperor has no clothes on anymore, man. That all went out the door 4 years ago, and probably actually 10 years ago when the Tea Party first jumped off. We are not any better than anybody else. Y'all saw the World Cup. The U.S. didn't make it to that shit. Iceland made it, bro. We aren't good anymore. we are. This is not 1952. We aren't leading the world in manufacturing or college degrees or anything like that. Detroit does not have 1.5 million people in it anymore. We aren't cool. We are not better than anybody else.
Well, Chris,
this is the type of thing that happens here.
Chris, I think you kind of missed. I think even though we're not leaders of the world in manufacturing and education and all that stuff anymore, we're still that perception existed until recent years. So he's taking off the kimono. So he now they know that the rest of the world knows we're a fucking hot mess. But before, regardless of where our standing economically before, the perception existed until 2017. And now that's gone.
But Dave, how about this?
Well, it was a race win.
I think black folks knew we wasn't.
I was just talking about from international. I'm talking about from an international. I'm talking about from a world standpoint.
I gotta push back on that too, because I mean, as long as we've had the spelling bee televised, it wasn't Chad and Jared up there in the final rounds. It wasn't.
They listen.
The rest of the world knew that we weren't that good too.
Chris. Let me tell you something. I live in Southern California, Chris. It's nothing but the community I live in is nothing but immigrants. So I don't care. It's the most expensive place to live. It's the highest tax place. They come off wherever you come off the plane or the boat at. This is still the place where everybody immigrant aspires to be.
I understand.
Yeah, so it don't matter.
I understand what you're saying, but I think I think the leaders of the world, when they put their statements out, I think that was a clear thing. Obviously, it's like this is the seat of democracy, and they were saying that. But when I went to Italy in 2009 on my jazz band trip, they made sure to caution us. They were like, "Hey, don't wear, try not to wear any like blatantly American stuff or U.S. flag stuff because people are not going to be feeling it." And I'm not even talking. I want to make it clear too. I'm not talking about internationally. I'm talking about the people who were on CNN, the analysts, the journalists, like George Stephanopoulos. These are the people who didn't get it, who didn't understand that the United States was not this lighthouse of democracy in the same way that they thought it was. I understand people want to come here and make a better life for themselves, for sure. For sure, I get that.
Middle-aged white men being tone deaf, Chris. I mean, like, if they haven't shown that shit, I don't know what will. I mean, if you want to fit in Italy, all you do is wear super tight ass clothes. I mean, that's how you know.
Hey, man, the clothes I saw there 6 months later, they were here. They were leading the fashion race.
Yeah. What'd you say, Cuzzo?
I would say when you look at stuff like that, though, when you look at like a news operation or some type of company speaking to American excellence or American prominence or whatever, exceptionalism, you're mostly talking about an organization engaging in some sort of promotion or marketing in a sense. You know, there's still money to be made in promoting the idea of American excellence and lying to the people about our own exceptionalism. You know, it's the opposite really of what true patriots do, which is question the direction of what this country does. And that's those are the people who are most valuable in the society, those who do question what we do and question the ethics and question the direction of our nation. If more people did that, then we wouldn't be in a position where we were liable to elect a person like Donald Trump, who shouldn't be elected dog catcher in any type of responsible municipality in America, let alone the leader of our entire country. So, you know, yeah, when we talk about this false idea of American exceptionalism, that's been a long time coming as far as the out and out, like I say, the out and out declothing of that idea. You know, now we can't hide it anymore as a nation. We couldn't hide it for the past 4 years, and this, you know, what happened today is just put it completely out in the open without any type of argument that our democracy is fragile and
very fragile,
and it will remain so as long as we keep listening and providing platform to people like Donald Trump and these foolish senators who want to still want to re-examine an election that has been proven completely on the up and up. You know, as long as we keep allowing them to have to be uninterrupted in the way that they've been, we're gonna have this foolishness going on.
Hey, listen, I have been saying for a while, like going to COVID, you see all these people like bum rushing these malls and stores, whatever like that. You know, I'm not the one to promote violence. I'm not. You have to push me to get to that point. But I saw what they did over in India, and they'll beat your ass if you don't follow what's going on. It's about time we start doing that a little bit. That's number one. Number two. I would seriously, I know that's not going to happen, and I don't think I'm being too partisan right here. I would seriously consider anyone that was a part of this in an elected office, they need to be impeached. Ted Cruz, Josh Hawley, all of them in the Senate. As I spoke about with Minority Speaker McCarthy, leader of the Republicans at the House, all the 100 of them.
McConnell.
Yeah, McConnell. No, not McConnell. Kevin McCarthy.
Oh, Kevin McCarthy. Right. Are you right?
Kevin McCarthy. Yeah, and they put up a picture of all the House Republicans that was thinking about doing this. Once again, as though he saw the brother that just so happened randomly straggle in with these domestic terrorists. It was two black brothers on that screen, or out of all them. I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, look at all these folks. Look at all these folks. And I said, wait a minute, hot damn it, is that a black person? Oh shit, it's two of them. Get their asses out of there too. Because you always had, when he had the slave revolts, you always had one or two go tell master, oh, something's going on, boss. You always have a few of those.
Yeah.
Steven.
You always have a few of those.
Hey, Steve, that's what
Tobias.
that's the character I think about there.
So all of them, they need to be impeached. Right along when Trump is walking his ass up out of there, because he's not going to be at the January 20th. He's not. It's not going to happen. Somebody needs to put the paperwork in. And I think I seen Cori Bush, who just got the House representative down from St. Louis. I think she just wrote up something talking about, hey, they need to go. Listen, you can't have this, man. You can't have. You don't want to be some of those countries that Chris brought up. You can't have this go on, as you said, Kyle. You can't have this go on. These people that's willy-nilly to go back into society after they just, try to sedition. You can't have that. You want to have a country? You want to have these law and order. You want to have these borders. You want to have these rules. People like that need to be taken care of. Escort them out.
Well, we're
They
gonna
no longer
or else there's gonna be this group is gonna continue to develop as a group a group that's gonna attempt these type of coups and these type of movements. In the future, there's gonna be others who are gonna come. Regardless
But
of
this isn't the
how
first time we saw
much
it,
we
though.
may strip. Yeah, this is the first time. Yeah, but I'm saying
No.
regardless
This
of
is
how
not
we
this is
may.
not the first time. This is not the first time we saw it. This happened in Michigan.
Yeah,
buddy.
okay.
Yeah.
This is the first time.
at this level. Right. All those militias and all these right wing groups, these groups that have existed mainly underground, and you could talk also about the Ku Klux Klan people who are still out there and everything, the neo Nazis. All these people are potential threats, and they can still network in various ways that could allow them to make themselves much more of a threat at any given time. They can interact with the Proud Boys or whoever, however you want to label them. There's all these labels. The labels don't matter. They all want the same stuff, and when they come together, they all going to enact the same in the same type of ways. They only have really one gear, and that's to go and fuck shit up. And that's the thing that. That's the thing that when we talk about how, or if this was black folks, it would have been different. If it was whatever, the thing that really gets me, I think that we haven't expressed in the layering of that is that black folks and our allies, our people of color, white folks, whoever, when we were fighting in the streets, when we get on the streets, when we march and stuff for Black Lives Matters and issues like that, we're doing that to fight for our lives. We're doing that literally to fight for our lives, to fight for our the ability to keep ourselves whole as citizens in this country. These fools today got out and they did all this mess to keep a person in office who was never worthy of the office to begin with.
Don't care about them.
What are these people sacrificing themselves for? What did that lady get shot in the neck for that died today? For Donald Trump to remain president? Like, imagine if this country, if every time a politician lost this country, their constituency reacted this way. We wouldn't have a country today.
We wouldn't have them. Exactly, 100% right.
Yeah. Imagine if I don't know who was the first person to lose for president. It wasn't Washington, because I don't think he just
John Quincy Adams.
Or
John Quincy Adams.
His dad.
John Adams.
I mean John Adams. I'm sorry, John Adams. Yes,
John Adams. Yeah, Quincy Adams
lost to Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, he lost to Thomas Jefferson. He was a first one-term president, former vice president of Washington, and his ass lost. And you know what he did?
Right.
Hey, he got his ass.
So imagine if a bunch of Adamsites were like, man, screw that Negro screwing Jefferson. You don't want him in office.
It's funny you bring that up, Kyle, but I mean, there has been. A lot of these guys are going based upon something that's happened in history, or their perception of history. This is what you're supposed to do. Like that, that's where they're inciting what they believe is their right. To revolt against a government they believe, or a new government that believes that they're not going to represent their best interests, and they believe that their current president is being dethroned unjustly. So that's where the premise does come from someplace in the American history. I think it's problematic.
Right quick too.
Why?
I'll say right quick too, Dave. Like, that's a great point. And when you look at people like the guy who went into Pelosi's desk and everything like that, and the guy who got on the big lectern and
was flexing
on the Senate floor and everything. Yeah, like they really do feel like this is their nation. They feel like I say, not only a privilege, but they feel that this is all theirs to play with. This is theirs to burn down should they wish. It's at their whim that this nation stands, and if they don't like what's going on, they could tear it down at their whim, and that's their right to, as white people and as white men in particular. And that the voice, the person who sticks up for them, who projects their voice, is being dishonored, and that's why they're doing all this.
But think about this though. Let's think about how stupid they are. Let's talk about that for a second. They are dumb.
Yeah.
2 things, 2 points. One, going back to the cat who was at the domestic terrorist that was sitting in Nancy Pelosi's office, her chair.
Big O.
This moron goes on Twitter and holds up something that he took from her office. His face is like this.
That's another.
Yeah, I was saying the cable bill. That was some type of bill.
Oh, look at I got. You stupid fucker. Yeah, just out there, huh? All right. Number 2, at the rally this morning with Trump. This is how stupid they are, and he knows it. He's not dumb, y'all. He knows it. He has found his limits, and he's squeezing them dry. He's getting every drip drop out of them. He told them, "Yeah, go down there to the Capitol. You know what? I might come with y'all." You know his ass ain't going down now. You know he ain't walking with you. I'm sure someone was like, "Well, where Trump is?" I don't know. Come on, y'all. Y'all, are you that stupid? Yes, you are. So what's going to happen to you? Your ass going to get arrested. I hope they do some facial recognitions like they did the kids. They did the people that was out here in Chicago. They found them real quick off their Instagram pages. These morons, your faces is all out there. I hope they pick your ass up, take it right down. I'm going to throw an old school word, the hooscow. Take it down there to the arrest your dumb ass. How stupid can you be? This dude does not care about you. He sent your dumb asses down to the Capitol, stormed the Capitol, and said, "I'm coming. I'm right behind y'all. Yeah, go ahead and go."
Snake oil salesman, man.
He sent all his pawns out. He sent all his pawns out. And this the same guy. This the same guy who was hiding underground when the brothers and sisters was marching on the street back in the summer. So to think he has any type of to think that he has anything less than a cowardly bone in his body, that's he's already proven that, man. He's just he does a bunch of flab and talk, man.
We know what the truth is, right? I want to speak to Demonze's point in a second, but when it comes to Donald Trump, the adage holds true. The loudest one in the room is what? The weakest. Mm-hmm. We all knew that. Mm-hmm. Your grandparents knew that. Mm-hmm. So we all knew that. But it's not that I'm not blaming these people, because social media has done this to a lot of people. It's funny. I was watching the SB Nation about the Laramie Tunsil thing and the investigation into college football, and Leo Lewis, who was the center of this investigation. And it's funny.
Yeah, down in Mississippi.
Yeah, Mississippi State. He got cash from this bag man and went on Instagram and was flashing the cash. So what did you and I'm not surprised that this dude, Big O, whatever his name is, went out on some Twitter or got photographed holding this letter from Nancy Pelosi's office. The difference that you would expect is that Leo Lewis was at that time 18 and this dude was 60. But adult to child doesn't count for that much anymore when everybody feels like their opinion is valid just because they can post it to the internet, because they can post it to the worldwide bulletin board.
Very true, Chris.
Social media has ruined a lot of people who might otherwise have been grabbed by the scruff of the neck.
Even though, you know what, Chris? Let me push.
They're all in search of validation because they don't.
Yeah, well, real quick, cuz I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna push back a little bit. I've always said this, though. I've always said this. I think all the people that you see right now are just off the same tree of someone before, the family tree, right? Mm-hmm. I can only imagine if the dumbasses and racists and fuckers back in, let's say 1980, 76, whatever, just go back. If they had Twitter they would be the same way. It'll be the same damn thing. All this is doing is just letting you see who people are. Their grandfathers would have did this. Their grandmothers would have did this. This is who they are. I think the one thing about social media, to your point, Chris, it has wrapped up some people, and you hear stories about, man, I really got caught up into it, and then I finally got out of the cult, and I'm awake again. But you could have had that same story back in the day. How about this? The radio. That blew people's fucking minds. And then people was listening to that shit, and then he asked who out there and went crazy. So it's no different than back in the day when Jefferson and all those guys was writing in their partisan newspapers, taking shots at each other. People would read that, and they'd be like, "Oh shit, this is what's going down. I'm storming it with my musket." Going to the radio, and it's like Hitler. and now you have social media is like Trump. You know what I'm saying? It's the same damn thing. It's just the devices. It's just elevated. It's just it's just a little bit more. Like you said, Chris, people do get wrapped up into it, and then people do are exposed when it comes to social media, and they get kind of wrapped up into it. But these it's the same thing.
Just people more eager and able to tell on themselves. Really, is the thing.
Yeah. I think validation is a part of it, because with these people don't really have legs to stand on. So it's like, what is your fight against? What is your rage? What are you raging against? They don't have an argument. They don't have. They're not going to express that, D. So I'm saying, intellectually, there's no base for that intellectually. That's just emotion and fear that they're working on. So
don't you think it's all started when Barack Obama was elected? This all started because of Barack Obama.
Yeah. But I'm saying that definitely. That's just the narrative. I'm saying, where's it come from? It doesn't come from an intellectual space. It comes from a suggestive space.
It comes from a fear.
That's what.
I got you, cousin.
Yeah, I said fear, Dave. Yeah, I said fear. But I said it comes from a suggestive space too. And that's where. Well, I'm just go back to what we were just saying. When we talk about the power of suggestion and the power of media to implant things in people's heads, we talk about radio. Radio at one point had the power to allow people to think that aliens were invading live on live. Yeah, that's what what's my man
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds, yeah. So that was radio, and that was a great point you made about the newspapers in the beginning of the country. Each party had their own newspapers. The Whig Party, the Democrats, the Republicans, there's some other party too, the short-lived, but they all had their own, and that's what we sort of come back to when we talk about message boards and private pages on Facebook, and what's that Reddit pages and all this stuff. People are digging back into their own caves for information, and the one thing we haven't spoken on too is outside manipulation. That is an issue too. The Russians have been proven to engage in our social media, and they have actively tried to rile up people and mislead people with information. So, and not everybody is, as to put it plainly, smart or as much as critical thinkers as we are, and most who we may know. But the average American is just not that critical of a thinker, and they lead more with their emotion and their base feelings than they do with anything else. So, Dave, you could go for that.
Yeah, I think all good points. I think that a lot of things that we kind of factor in is that what someone has kind of pointed out is that they've said a lot of the misinformation has been spread through like Facebook, and older people are more susceptible to believe misinformation through there.
Oh my God, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think that's a bigger, a big part. And then also Facebook has already been shown to be one of the most areas where it is susceptible to misinformation through the Russians and God knows who else. And ultimately, it's also about people wanting to believe a certain fantasy. I mean, I think that's something that we just kind of have to. It's not just about people being, misled, like willfully misled, and they're not complicit in it. I think part of it is you have to believe the bullshit somebody's talking, to a certain extent. Because I mean, at some stuff, like even with Trump, the range of this ends up so outlandish. I mean, there's certain things that you can understand. Okay, well, I can see how somebody, of average intelligence would believe him saying this, but then there's other shit he's saying, and I was like, how do you believe what that person's saying that? It's like at some point you just have to take, hold of the car again before it goes off a cliff. And for a lot of people who showed up today, that didn't happen. They didn't say like, okay, this man is surely just off the reservation, for lack of a better term. And and they didn't take that self control and say like, what, this he's not leading, I'm not going to be involved in a seditious act. And that's ultimately what these people did. And it's just really also more sad that in this environment that these people have been not only failed by like Trump, but they've been failed by American capitalism. And it's ironic that I say that. But in a sense where it's like these are all people that have. I'm assuming if you could take off on a damn Wednesday, and I'm assuming all these people don't live in the DMV area, and go do this.
Yeah, that's true. There ain't a lot of regular jobs among those people,
right?
Oh, but you know what, Dave? But you know what, Dave? Trump has been talking about this day for a while, so he probably put the sick time in the PTO, and he said, "Mary Jo, I got to go to DC."
So let's combat that for a couple of different reasons.
I don't know about that.
I don't think they ain't these ain't the PTO type of people. I mean,
no, they're not. I mean, you got a few about that though.
I would hope they would even be because there's workplace etiquette that none of these motherfuckers had because none of them was wearing a mask. First of all, so you can't go into a job where you put in PTO to go and you don't wear a mask in many cases. I'm like, so that's first already.
Where's Jim? He's
you're like, you can't go in there and be like
breaking in the window at the Capitol.
Did you see Bob on TV?
He didn't show up at headquarters today, and there he is on TV. Nah, these dudes don't have them type of jobs. Even if they did, they would probably
pissing on the Associated Press camera.
They probably were, I guess victims of kind of the economy in certain instances, and I think that also just kind of added to it. I mean, and their savior.
But Dave, when you talk about critical thinking, okay, these people they fall victim to the same people who they put so much faith in. So it's like, why don't these people realize how much Trump and his the people who have enabled Trump have played the role in their demise. They don't recognize that.
We spoke about this on a call previously, and I think this was right after the election. Is that Americans associate, and I had this conversation with some friends of mine who are I don't want to call them Trump supporters, but they consider themselves kind of politically independent. But the thing is, a lot of people associate with Trump is that that American exceptionalism, a false narrative. Yeah. And I think for him, they overlook a lot of shit because they feel like even through vicariously that they're connected to that. I mean, Trump is a brand. Before he was a president, he's a brand. Mm-hmm. And for them, they're associated with that brand. I mean, it's kind of like you see dudes in the projects, living at their mama house, driving $40,000-$50,000 cars, or living in apartments and in the hood and driving $40,000-$50,000 cars. Like I see it on IG all the time where I'm like, I see motherfuckers driving, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 cars, and I'm like, where you live at though? And I mean, so I think it's just kind of the same mentality is that even though it's not a material connection, it's a connection to him as a brand as president, and pretty much they follow him to the point of him just to the every word he says is gospel because they just feel like this man represents me, no matter what crazy shit is coming out of his mouth. I don't know if that answers the question, but that's the best way.
That's well said, David. And I wanna mention. It made me think of a tweet that I saw earlier, right quick. one of my favorite writers, Jeff Weiss, Passion of the Weiss. He quoted quoting him, he said, "This is the legacy of Andrew Jackson, John C. Calhoun, Jefferson Davis, Strom Thurmond, Richard Nixon, Jesse Helms, Orrin Hatch, Dick Cheney, Rupert Murdoch, and millions of enablers seen and unseen. A strain of American madness from the inception. Trump merely lit the match."
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
This didn't start 4 years ago or even 8 years ago. You know, it started decades ago. These are the people that they're invoking when they talk about there's a precedent. When Ted Cruz is talking all his bullshit, these are the people that set the precedent for them.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree.
It's hard to fight all that. There's a whole alternative history that these people they sort of hold on to, and they'd like to enact as our real shared history. They would like to have the power to shift all of that. Like it's like the big picture. One of the surreal images that we've seen today is of that dude holding that big ass Confederate flag up in the White House. He's not in the Capitol, just walking around with that joint on his back, on his shoulder. And I saw a tweet that said, "Look, that flag was never raised in Washington. It never came anywhere near Washington, D.C. from the years of 1861 to 1865 when we was fighting them fools, and the half the country was torn in half. You know, that flag never saw its way anywhere near Washington, D.C. But on this day, when we're supposed to be one nation, it's all up in the middle of our U.S. Capitol."
I always think about the fact that just in my family, just in my immediate household from Inglewood, right? I'm the first person that was born in that household with full civil rights. My aunt and my mother was born before the Federal Housing Act. So even then, my parents, my aunt, my grandmother, obviously, Kyle's aunt, did not have equal rights in this country. And I was talking to my coworker. I said, "Listen, man, this isn't surprising to me. These people aren't surprising to me." Going back to my earlier point, talking about they all come from the same tree. It was only, 60 years ago? I'm 38 years old, soon to be 39. Only 60 years ago, folks are running around able to block people that look like us, me and us, from just owning a home. The government, the U.S. government. So it's folks that 60 hip hop. Damn it, Cool Herc. One Cool Herc. That's all you got to think about it like that. One maybe Reverend Run. That's all this is. And and people, this what always throws me off is people say, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening." What the hell do you think? It's not that far fetched. It's not that far removed. We're not that far removed. I'm just saying.
Our rights can still be repealed. They have been since then.
And they have been.
Yeah, they've been rolling that back.
I think what thing that you probably I'm assuming the person Demonze you're talking to was white. I mean, you can correct me if you're wrong.
No. I was just saying it. If it was a brown person, but damn it, I had to get it off my chest, Dave. I just said it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no. So I think the problem is with a lot of people been living with their head in the sand, or they just lack awareness. I think it's a whole lot of people in the world. It don't even matter in America. It don't even matter what race they are. It can be age, based upon age. It can be based upon where they come from. Where they grew up at. It's just that lack awareness of what American history is. Yeah, and American history is a dark place. We were watching and Kyle, it's another show, but Small Axe. And I was having a conversation with my father-in-law about the difference of racism in the UK versus America. Because the thing is, in the UK is heavily based upon class. And it's also based upon, like anti, African or immigrant. But the difference is for African Americans is that we are native. We've native. We've been here. We have white blood. These are people who, are, only been in the UK for 60 years in many cases. Like, the West
They came
Indian
from the continent too. Yeah.
Right. And they came, in the 50s and the 60s in many cases. And then they built the communities there. And subsequently, a lot of, British, sentiment came, anti-Semitic came once they got there. And that was the case for South Asian people there too. But the difference between American racism and, their racism is that it's class based. America's racism has never been like class based. I don't care how much they try to veil the shit now.
No,
it's never been something that's
right.
class based. And it doesn't, it doesn't matter in 2020. I mean, there's still the last bastion of racism outside of like these fuckers today is as like economic racism. Like I can keep you out living most of the places where you want to live just if I want to raise the damn price on real estate. So I mean that's the reality of it. I don't have to redline your ass. I mean, I give you a loan if you can put up the 20, like California, 6% African American, I think it's 6% black left in the state. And I'll give you a loan. I won't redline wherever you live at, but you got to put up 20% of whatever the house costs. So and that's gonna create a big barrier.
And then you got to deal with the neighbors when you get there.
Well, I mean but the thing is that tends to be a little bit more subtle once you actually get there. I think that the issue, but what happens here is really economic. It's really is what kind of is the driving force that kind of pushes people. But the thing is, that's so it's still racism still exists. I think it's just really weird. It's just really it looks a different way. And if you don't have the frame and the reference point of history, as a lot of us do, when you're talking to people, they're gonna be shocked. They're shocked to people when they don't.
Yeah.
A lot of that comes from the idea, the concept of original sin, and that's when you have a country that is based off of something and built off of an evil act, and there still hasn't been any reconciliation about that. We all get caught up in these same battles over and over again. These same things. White people in America is never gonna allow reconciliation for what happened in slavery. And that's always going to be an issue that hangs over our heads.
Cal, can I pose a question to everybody?
Sure.
Okay. So obviously we saw, Georgia go blue last night with Reverend Warnock and John Ossoff winning the Senate races, right? Another point, kind of bringing it back to home with what we saw today, Donald Trump, for whatever the ills that he has possessed over these people and what he has brought to this country, what cannot be denied is that he can get people like this, very passionate, out to vote. And by him saying that, this election was stolen, that definitely, I believe, had a huge impact on what happened in Georgia, right? My question is, so what's going to happen to the Republican Party? Mitch McConnell said today, he said this, matter of fact, a couple of days ago when Ted Cruz when Josh Hawley first floated this out, saying, hey, we want to try to slow down this, send the certification of, I can say, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. He said, this is going to be the toughest vote in my life. Now, with these domestic terrorists storming the Capitol, he's probably been let off the hook. But these folks don't care. Donald Trump has been able to get people to come out and vote that typically don't vote, and they do vote Republican. So what's going to happen to the Republican Party when these people don't show up to vote? I've been thinking for quite a long time that we could be living through, after all the other crazy shit that we've seen over our years, we could possibly be seeing the start of a new political party, still conservative, but something different. Now, you don't know if you want to go to a moderate wing or the extreme wing that we're seeing right now. But these people, since they had this white privilege, they're able to just go back to wherever the hell they came from in America, obviously. They're going to go vote again, right? They're going to go to vote again. I don't think these people are going to go vote for Mitch McConnell again. I don't think these people are going to go vote for a lot of these guys and these men and women who did not bend the knee to their dear Orange King. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen to the Republican Party? What's going to happen to them? Are they going to split the vote? Dave, I go to you first. That's my question. What's going to happen to the Republican Party now?
Same thing that happened to the Gangster Disciples in '96.
They split up and
GDs and BDs split. You gonna have an outlaw Republicans, which is gonna be the Trump faction, and then you're gonna have the conservative Republicans, which is the main party.
You're gonna have Republicans talking about if you ain't from 63rd, I don't fuck with you.
Are you from the west side? Are you from the south? Yeah. What are you? You new breed or you regular GD?
Wait a minute, hold on. So Josh Hawley was speaking, and Mitt Romney was sitting behind him. Mitt Romney looked like he wanted to smack the shit out of Josh Hawley.
Good.
He did.
Good.
He was amazing. Listen, to his credit, to Mitt Romney's credit, he has been the loudest voice in the Senate as a Republican against all this shit. And not saying that he's perfect by no stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that at all. But I will give him the simple fact that he at least said something. It looked like he wanted to smack the shit out of Josh Hawley right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was reported that when all this was going down, he was yelling at them like, "This is what y'all started. This is what y'all want. This is what y'all started." So I'm just curious to see where they gonna go.
I like to slap him too, looking at that face.
Yeah,
very slappable face.
These people are not going to vote for Mitch McConnell again. They're not going to vote for any of these people anymore. So are they just not going to vote? And then what? We're going to see a super Democratic party? I mean, I think I know where it's going, but I'm just curious. That's just why I'm throwing it out there.
Chris, you got anything?
I think a split is the most likely outcome. It's funny. I turned on Fox News just to see what they were saying and how they were reacting, and I was surprised that a couple of the people. I mean, you got to. My mom has said that for a long time.
I agree with that too, Chris. You got to see what the hell he's talking about.
You got to. You really got to. Just basically so you can have the other team's playbook. Shout out to the Patriots. Ooh, that was a double entendre. Don't even ask me how. They actually had Sarah Palin. They got Sarah Palin, who has a fireplace that is evidently tall as her. So she's been doing good off of that one political cameo that she made.
Yeah.
But her wild outside the box ass was saying that maybe there has to be a third party. Presumably, I didn't catch her entire part because it was rambling, but she said that there has to be a third party to catch these people to get this group of people. And I think that I'm pretty sure that she agrees with the gist of what's going on now, because she was chalking all this up to power plays within the Republican Party. So I think that she was putting it on the guys like Mitch McConnell, who were trying to make their play to get to the top of the party line, or even the Tom Cottons or Ted Cruz's. Mm-hmm. But I think that her idea is that there needs to be that Tea Party, Don't Tread on Me party, whatever you want to call it, of people who believe, it's not strict libertarianism, but something, just some place that these people can go and feel that their thoughts are heard. And I wouldn't be surprised about that, except for the fact that this country, with its capitalist backbone, wants to maintain that two-party system so badly.
Yeah.
Like Barack Obama wants to maintain
that's where the fight system. Is.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of people who are, Democrats that we bang with want to maintain a two-party system. So I'd be surprised if that actually comes to fruition with any actual support, rather than just being a wing of the Republican
Party. I'll go say though, because these wings exist on both sides. And I think if y'all remember weeks ago, there was a lot of talk about, and this was in the wake of Biden prohibitively winning the presidency. There was talk about people on the left being dissatisfied with people who are more on the centrist view, aligned with Biden. You got people like AOC and the her groups and everything, and the more the younger voters and electorates in the Democratic side also feeling like they're not being listened to and really included in the overall decision making like they would like to. So you can see a mirror, possibly from some of these dissatisfied people all over the place. Right wing, left wing, rich, poor. There's dissatisfied people all around this country. So it to me it is interesting, the idea of maybe a transition that could occur where maybe there would be another, at least one, actual functioning party that comes out of this era of say a functional party, like a party that could actually bring about people who could be elected and actually have some sort of representation within the House and the Senate, and maybe even put together a real presidential candidate one day, as opposed to the Green Party and all these other parties that have tried but couldn't. But their movements can't. I think there are people, and there are charismatic people and people who have done things who may be able to stir that stuff up. I was thinking again of England. I don't know, Dave, if you know this, like how many parties are in England, on the Britain, I should say,
that actually make noise.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tories,
it's like
Labour,
Tories,
Conservatives, and Labour.
Yeah.
The UK Independence Party that gains steam, they've got seats in the Parliament. The Liberal Democrats have been around for a while. There's the Scottish National Party. That's the thing about England. You can have like whatever party and get a seat in Parliament. You just might not be able to make things happen. You could win for your district or council, and if you have enough people, you might get a coalition government. But they've had a multi-party system for about as long as they've had a parliamentary monarchy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Monarchy.
See, I just think. No, I was just gonna say, I just think these people probably just won't go. They probably won't vote. I mean, because let's be honest, they didn't really vote for Bush. They didn't vote for Romney. They didn't vote for McCain. They voted because of one person, that was Donald Trump. They're probably going to go back.
He got record numbers on both sides this year.
He had exactly. But go ahead, Chris. You about to say something?
I think because you remember, and I had forgotten about this. You remember that moment where McCain had the town hall, and the woman, the woman and the guy came up, and they were like, I just don't trust this Barack Obama. I feel like they were resigned, but they voted somewhere. They might not have voted in the general, the national election. And we all know at this point, we know by now, those aren't necessarily important. The presidential election is not the most important election.
Exactly.
They probably voted. They just probably voted locally for guys like Tom Cotton.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, if Tom Cotton, he didn't go along with the sedition though. And what did but Eric Trump, not Eric was it Eric or Donald? No, Donald Jr. He went out there before his orange daddy got out there and say, anybody that don't rock with us, if you don't bang with us, we taking you off the block.
Yeah.
And these are the same people that stormed the Capitol. So only thing I'm trying to say is it's kind of like these people are really the Pied Piper. These rich New Yorkers are the Pied Piper to these poor, mostly rural people. Which that whole dichotomy is weird right there, right? But they're Pied Piper. And they believe in him. Donald Trump said, listen, I want y'all to go home, but this has been a great day, and I love y'all. Think about that. Think about that. He said, I want y'all to go home. Y'all did a good job. Nobody's ever going to forget this. He still got 2 weeks in office.
He's like a manipulative daddy now.
My God. Yeah. So if he's that psychotic, because he is, to say, hey, you know what I'm saying, y'all storm the front, y'all, you know what I'm saying, one person, we took a L on one person, you know what I'm saying, she did, but hey, y'all go ahead and go home, y'all had a good day today. All you do and
Yeah,
still
the
feeding the bullshit lies. And still feeding the bullshit lies. Talking about, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They stole it from us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they stole it from y'all. Had go home, as he told the Proud Boys, stand aside and stand by, whatever. He basically just told these people the same thing. So all these people
stand by.
There you go. Yeah. All these people are seeing these Republicans that didn't ride with him. So what's going to happen? That's the weird. That's just my. What? I'm like,
I guess the question is, like from a voting standpoint, if they don't vote, why do we give a shit?
You know why? Because this is my reason why. This is my reason why.
They could still run up on the government on the houses of government.
They can do that.
The safety
they can do that.
Concern, of course.
Yeah, they can do that. But this is another thing too. The one thing I do firmly believe in, even how crazy you are an American and you can vote. And I see too many people that are disenfranchised. They become disenfranchised like us. They purposely want to do it, or just like, I just don't trust the system. When you have so many people not trusting their government, trusting the system, trusting their fellow American, bullshit like this happens. So you actually need people, in my opinion, I think you need people to be able to function, mentally function, hopefully have, as Kyle said, some critical thinking to be a good citizen. These fuckers ain't good. They just ran up on the. They just ran up on the
Capitol. But you proving
what's
my
gonna
point,
happen to them?
You kind of proving my point, because the point, I think the thing is that they don't trust. They clearly don't trust the system, which is why they did what they did. I mean, they don't have faith in the system. They, their leader told them, that this is not, the election was a fraud. So yeah, I mean, why do I give a shit at this point? All I really care about is why these motherfuckers ain't in jail or dead. I'll be honest with you.
I get that one.
I mean, it really shows. Well, I mean, if the shoe was on the other foot, which we established in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. I understand that.
You be mopping black blood off the damn Capitol steps. But the point, so there's that. I mean, it's really just like kind of America, to kind of paraphrase Kyle's analogy about the daddy thing. It's like you got a daddy who, on one hand, when a kid does the wrong thing, beats his ass to he's black and blue, and then you got the other one where he fucks up and you just give him a pat on the back and say good job. So
right.
So there's that. So truth be told, I don't give a fuck what happened to these people. I wish we were like the UK where we had in Australia, where you can send these motherfuckers to Australia.
Pack their ass up. You got to go.
We need to
send them all to Alaska.
They need to send them. No, that's you don't send
American Samoa.
You need to send you send their ass. No fuck to the Samoans. No, what they really need to do is reopen like fucking Alcatraz and send their asses there.
They closed Alcatraz.
I said, that's what I said. They really need to reopen.
I don't think Alcatraz is big enough.
I said, man, how about Antarctica?
Fuck no, because global warming is like, and I had this conversation with somebody else. Global warming, Antarctica, it's green now. I mean, like polar bears ain't got no damn where to sleep now. That's what's happening with global warming. It's too comfortable for them niggas there. No, send their ass to Alcatraz.
Put their ass on the island.
Put their ass in the Alcatraz. I do rehab that boy. I mean, rehab it. That prison industrial complex is what it is. Keep the economy going. Niggas in the Bay Area need jobs. So black guards, they have a hiring spree for job fair for black guards and like Oakland in the Bay Area. Rebuild Alcatraz. Send their asses there. That's my.
I like my Samoa idea because I want to see the Proud Boys break off against a bunch of Yokozuna looking minds.
No, I like this. So what you get? And give big chunky ass Samoans COVID. You just gonna wipe them niggas out because none of the motherfuckers wearing masks.
I'm saying they gonna sit on them. None of the
motherfuckers wearing masks. You can be guaranteed that some of the motherfuckers got COVID. They go over to American Samoa Islands, it's an isolated place, and get big motherfuckers COVID. No, it's like the fucking blanket. The what is it called? Smallpox blanket. That's
Smallpox
exactly what
blanket.
them motherfuckers are. The
Hey,
smallpox.
somebody, a representative did say before they went back in to convene what they're doing right now to keep, saying doing people's work. They certifying everything. Somebody, a representative did say like, hey, listen, I'm worried to go back in there because I'm sure that motherfuckers had COVID. And they running around there, and it's all out and about. I'm scared of that. They not even scared about the IUDs. They scared about COVID. Think about that.
Exactly.
IUD.
What did I say?
IUD. I'm very sure that
that's a whole different field.
That's a whole different thing.
I'm very sure that the men in a lot of the men in Congress would be scared of IUDs if they knew what they were.
They would. Listen, I'm trying to say is, listen, man. The Republicans have lost the popular. Thank you. They have lost the popular vote at the last 7 to 8 presidential elections. They're losing, could possibly start losing the South. Shout out to everybody down in Atlanta and definitely Stacey Abrams.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, they are lashing out. They think everything is going to hell in a handbasket. Where you gonna go? I just want to know where you're gonna go so I can stay away from you. Where you gonna do?
You need you look, it's a job opportunity. They need a black leader. They need a figurehead. You got to go, man.
I told you they asked to be in Antarctica. I told you they'd be in Antarctica. Goddamn.
You asking what's happening today?
They put it on D to clean it up.
Yeah.
High 6-figure job. I told my old man who's a Trump guy. I was like, why don't you go to Washington and make $200,000, do security? I was like, you love him so much. I was like, he needs all the tokens he could get. I was like, you should have capitalized on that shit. We fucking around.
I just think we're seeing a real sea change in the political parties, and this is fascinating to me. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, when you look at what's real about these elections in places like Georgia, in Arizona, and that have turned, if not blue, at least purple, and even places where they've been more competitive in this year than they have been in the past, like Texas or something like that. I think that's the type of stuff that we have to look out for the Democrats to actually make their time as being in power, make it functional. Yeah. Where they have to build on these things, and and they have to. I'm thinking of gerrymandering in a lot of ways where, they have to undo a lot of the damage that the Republicans have made in regards to redistricting and allowing for. They've done a lot of stuff to explicitly to keep themselves in power in certain places, in certain areas of the country, to where they could get the votes better if the voting areas is a certain way and stuff like that. The districts are laid out a certain way and stuff. They got to work on stuff like that. Democrats do, in order to build off of these gains that they've made in areas like Georgia and Arizona, and to keep themselves steady in spots like the Rust Belt and areas like and various other areas where they could lose ground again if they don't really reach out to the people in these areas.
Two things they can do right now. Not right now, but as soon as John Ossoff and Reverend Warnock get there, DC, I bet they asses wish they was a state right now, because Mike Pence had to send in the National Guard.
Yes, that has been talked about a lot.
I bet you DC want to be a state now. I bet you they want to be a state.
Oh, they've been wanting to be a state, man.
Yeah, I know. Puerto Rico too. There you go. Hey, and they are, and Warnock and Ossoff have already said that they will vote for that, Puerto Rico and DC, to become states. I mean, and just look at the situation that happened there. They're going to refortify the state capital now. This shit would never happen again. At one point in time, you could walk up to the White House. You can't do that no more. You ain't gonna be able to walk up to the Capitol. That's true. That's not going to happen again. No. They're going to make it some kind of way where you have to depend on the vice president or the president to call it a National Guard if something is happening. Nah. You gotta change that too. And go to your point, Cal. You can now, with making those two territories into states, 4 more senators. Who knows Once upon a time, the Republicans was all gung ho about Hawaii because they figured that would be a Republican stronghold. That's ruby blue. I mean, that's blue, Crip blue. God damn it, there ain't nothing happening out there. So at this particular time, you know, you will have 4 senators, Democratic senators, coming from those 2 territories. So to your point, Kyle, this is a time where you have to strike. It might not be in those particular locations that you was mentioning, which they have to do, and I totally agree with you. But you have to seize on opportunities, and this is a clear opportunity to say, "Hey, listen, we got to change these things up."
And they got to. This was something that I think was an issue, unfortunately, with Obama, and you know, to what degree he could have controlled it, I don't know. But the messaging and getting across what you were getting done while you were in office, that's key. Because
he's not a big promoter.
A lot of people wrongly. Yeah, I know. You know, Biden. I mean, like I said, Biden may be different in that way than Obama was, but still, you gotta let the people know that gains have been made, because there was he shouldn't have the 12 election should have been as close as it was. It really shouldn't have. And of course, 16. There shouldn't have been any thought about. Really serious thought about anybody from that Republican side. It didn't help that Hillary, of course, was the candidate, but America should have been in that position, because, like you said, the Republicans haven't won any election since '88. They haven't won any presidential election since '88. Popular vote, yeah. So this country is obviously making moves in a certain way.
No, I'm not sorry. No, because George Bush, the second term, he won a popular vote.
Oh, the Bush Kerry? Yeah, that's true.
Oh, you're right. Oh, the one that's there. You're right.
That's
the one
the
time,
last one,
but still, once in over 30 years, they've won a popular election, and so the country, it doesn't. In so many ways, those who are at least consistently politically engaged are not hearing what they don't want. What the Republicans are selling. So the Democrats have to do more to establish what they're doing, instead of just being an opposition party and saying like, oh, look, they can't lead. They're dumb and they're tone deaf and all that. Come to us, because we're just a more acceptable version of political inadequacy. They have to be something better, and they have to provide something that that gives the people hope and gives the people something to build off of, going in a real vision of the future.
I agree. That's a good point. It's not one that exists right now. That it's outside of platitudes. There is not one. And to kind of paraphrase it to someone earlier, saying like, "What have the Democrats done for you?" I just say like, if I got a tumor and I got a choice between it being benign or malignant, I'm always choosing to be benign. And that's kind of what I unfortunately see the Democratic Party is, kind of like a benign tumor. It doesn't necessarily, it's there. It ain't gonna kill me. I know what the other side gonna do. So that's why I choose.
Right.
The other side is going to try to attempt sedition.
Right. Oh, wait. I don't know. Yeah.
That's weird.
That's going to try to extract itself from your body.
Because no matter what, you want to try and cut the tumor out if you can.
Oh yeah, but I think agree, Chris. But I think what the issue is like one of them are. If I got one, that's not moving, and the Democratic Party is not really moving the needle. But what I'm saying is, if I got a choice between something that's just sitting there and they ain't doing a whole lot, or I got something that I know it's going to metastasize and kill me, I'm going to choose the damn thing that just ain't going no damn where. I mean, it's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know if you ever watched.
One is calling you out, the other's actively killing you.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched Dr. Pimple Popper. No. Hold on. Number one.
I think you alone on that one.
Hold on. Number one, the doctor's gorgeous. Number one, she's
Dr.
She's
Pimple
gorgeous.
Popper.
She's gorgeous,
Okay,
number one.
I
That's
got
how I
it.
started watching it. I said, "Oh, who's this beautiful Asian woman?" I said, "Whoa, number
Oh
one."
my goodness.
Number two,
Where's this call going?
That's enough for you, a fine Asian woman popping pimples.
like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Number one. Number two, no, you have like a lipoma, and these people come in with these huge bumps on their back. And she's like, "Oh, I gotta see what it is." It's like, "Oh, it's a lipoma. It's just fatty tissue. It won't kill you. You can walk around with it. It won't kill you. It's not a tumor. It ain't gonna take you out, like Dave said. But it's lipoma. The choice is yours. What do you want to do? Take it out, or you want to live with it? Yes, you can live with a lipoma. You can't live with cancer.
Yeah.
You can't live
your
with
shirts will fit better. You know.
Yeah, that's true too. But I highly recommend Dr. Pimple Popper.
Oh,
right,
Dr. Pimple Popper is she's local.
Yeah, she's in Cali. She's in Cali.
Oh my
And
God.
it's a fascinating show, man. People walk in like, "Damn, how did you let that grow like that?" And you know, like,
No, my partner, she watches that for fun. She's a fan of. She's a fan.
oh,
of
I
that.
love that show. Love it. Love it. I've learned so
Yeah,
much. Ooh,
So I'm gonna put that on the list.
I think it's a cyst. Oh, damn it, it's a lipoma. You know, it's a fascinating
You'll
show.
put that
Hey,
on the
listen,
list after the chase.
Yes.
You'll put the chase on the list and Pimple Popper.
What's
Dr.
the
Pimple Popper.
What's
It's on TLC.
what's the chase?
That's what
the
Chris
game
will be
show.
on.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Oh yeah, your show, Chris. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. One thing we kind of touched on it earlier about the people who were there and how they didn't have, it's like they weren't the type of people to have PTO kind of. I want to make clear on that. We're talking about they weren't the people that would have jobs that would have PTO.
Yeah. Yeah.
I worked when I was down in Peoria and I was working at Caterpillar in Morton, which is about 10 miles east on I-74. I was working in the office, and these are people with families who, the cost of living is lower, but they got houses in the small town, mid-sized town, Peoria, even city, country, stuff like that. The day that President Obama came off the plane and saluted with a Starbucks cup in his hand,
oh Jesus Christ!
People in that office were so pissed off. And these are, that was a job. That was the job that I had the most money and time and free because I had health care. We got 2 weeks vacation. People, you were there for 5 or 6 years, you got 3 weeks vacation. So this was a nice job.
Chris
And
Caterpillar
people in there. I mean, people were complaining endlessly about how Caterpillar was getting ready to move from Peoria, like they've been complaining about for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
They've kind of steadily been doing. But I remember that there's a woman who sat across from me who will not be named, said that her son, who was a Marine, or her nephew, who was a Marine, said that he was talking to somebody in the Secret Service, and they were like, if somebody, usually they're supposed to jump in front of the president, and it's like, oh, we were talking about it, and he said if that came up, that he would stand exactly where he was, and I was in there. I was 24, 25, and I was like, are you kidding me? And just yelled it in the office. And this is one of those cubicle offices where everybody can hear everybody else. And I had to get up and walk out. And one of the other supervisors came over and was like, hey, Chris, just wanted to see what was going on. And I told him, he's like, well, politics shouldn't be discussed in the office anyway. So those are the type of people, what I'm trying to say is who were at that march today. They may not look like it. We may not know them all, but I've had those few years experience to know who those people are. And those are the same people that you might first day of deer season off to go hunting. We know those people.
Chris, I think there's one good thing to point out though. Them motherfuckers probably may not have that job come next week. Police are like reviewing the video now, the tape now, all the shit that went happen.
I hope so.
So I don't think that, so for them PTO, they probably ain't gonna be there.
But that speaks to the hypocrisy, though. I think I saw a lot of people bring that up today about people complaining about the way that people, protest in regards to other issues like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. Like Kaepernick came up quite a bit. You could they're assaulted so much by kneeling or if you take, God help you if you don't have a Starbucks cup in your hand while you salute, or if you don't take your hat off while the anthem is playing. But tearing up the Capitol, there's no issue. If you have to, you have to, huh?
They're mad. They're upset.
Yeah. Yeah, they had an election stolen from them. It's so unjust.
Yeah.
Well, just let them vent. And a woman is shot dead.
I was trying to compare it, right? Like over the millions of things that Black and brown people have had to be pissed off about. And I was gonna say, it's like, I was gonna be like, when this happens, we gather up, people march, people have church services, people have meetings, and then they go and they march. And I was thinking back, and I was like, okay, I know there's been times where it got violent, it got necessarily violent. But over history, people get up together and they're like, they march, they bring their grievances to the government as outlined in the Constitution. And this is over hundreds of years of grievances. And everybody runs up and jumps them. But we still march. We still bring the grievances to the government as outlined in the Constitution. These cats over the last 16, 17 years have seen their rights erode, and they've gotten so pissed off that the first time that became too much for them, they jumped a barricade and climbed a wall like reverse Omar from The Wire, and ran up in the Capitol, and we're taking photos, and it's striking at how little patience that people have. These people specifically have when a little bit happens to them.
Well, it's the whole.
Their lives weren't in danger or nothing. They except for the one lady who got shot. Wasn't nobody lives in danger. Wasn't nobody. They weren't reacting to.
They got tear gas.
They weren't reacting to
the
state
results of this election weren't going to kill them, but they reacted like they were dying.
No. Hey man, lies can do that to you, though.
They were putting them barricades up on the wall and climbing the wall, like you say, reverse Omar. They were climbing they were straight hooligan.
That's a great line.
They was acting like they were trying to sneak in a Lollapalooza, man. They was acting a fool. Like,
ain't shit probably gonna happen to them. And they doing this all for a guy who don't give a shit about them. Think about that. Right. They're doing this for a guy who don't give a shit about them. He gonna walk past you and be like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Right. And then he wasn't lying about it. Even during the lead up to the election, he'd go to Erie, Pennsylvania, and say, "What the hell am I doing in Erie,
I wouldn't even coming here. Why am I here? I wasn't even coming here. Fuck y'all."
Right. He was telling them to their face they were assholes, and they were still willing to vote for him.
But that's my point.
Willing to get arrested and die for this dude. Man.
Yeah, but that was what I was saying before. He know that they are lemons, and he is squeezed. Oh, listen, this is what probably really got him hard watching this shit. All these flags.
That's why he didn't say nothing. He was up in the White House.
Wait a minute. Look at him. Look at all these flags out there. All these hats out there. They have to buy that shit. And who do they have to buy it from? Him. They have to buy that shit. He's looking at these motherfuckers like, I'm getting all you motherfuckers for your money. Yeah, they stole this from you. Yeah, they stole it from you. Go to Trump.com and buy that Make America Great hat, Make America Great Again hat that was made in China for $25. Yeah, go on
25
here.
cents.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was made by it was made in a slave shop, but I'm gonna give it to you for $25, and I only spent 25 cents to get it made. Go out there. He's squeezing them. This man got $250 million, and he's just sitting on it. And this motherfucker's going down to Florida, and gonna be like, yeah, let me go ahead and let me try to see if I can still be this kingmaker. Let me see if I can be this kingmaker. Yeah, Josh, anybody go against me, I'm gonna have my people come out there and ain't gonna vote for you. And you know what? The fuck is right. They ain't gonna vote for him. So they have emboldened all of. I see Lindsey Graham on my TV right now. This mother, boy, I want to cuss so bad right now. I've been doing it.
LGBTQI.
I mean, This dude has been an enabler since day one.
He's a worm,
Ted
man.
Cruz,
He's a worm.
Ted Cruz. The dude said your wife is ugly and your daddy killed JFK.
Yeah.
And the motherfucker bent over backwards and said, "Son, may I have another one?" They are enabling this dude. And now you want to kind of come over here and talk about, oh, y'all can't do this? You done let the monster out now, man. The monster ain't voting for you no more, brother. You should have gone ahead and stepped down and let Jamie get it.
Twister made that song "Dreams" by Twister keeps coming to my head, and when I'm listening to you, just to sell me a dream. He just selling motherfuckers. He just selling a dream,
man.
He's pimped out 48%, 49% of America.
Yes.
For however many millions of dollars.
These motherfuckers.
I was gonna disagree with you saying that he's psychotic, but that's pretty psychotic.
He's CC on the deuce.
He knows what he's doing. People always say, "Oh, he's so yeah, he's crazy," but the motherfucker knows what he's doing. He understands. Listen, even going back to Barack Obama and the whole Bertha bullshit. This is what he did. Okay, let me see. These white folks out here, they at least Republicans, they don't like this black motherfucker. Even though I gave all this money to these Democrats, let me throw this racist fish line out there, see if I catch anything. Oh shit, I got the whole damn fish. I got the whole damn thing. Oh, hey family, we're about to eat. And they've been eating.
I think even more insidious about like the campaign on Trump is just like all the quantum shit and like all the crazy conspiracy shit, even more than what Trump does. People don't understand like the smoke screens, like if you listen to people who have a Trump mindset, they talk about George Soros being Antichrist and about him. Yeah. It's like it's all these
people and all this baby eaters and stuff.
That's really more the most insidious thing. Like Trump does what he gonna do, but like you also, it's not like you can even combat Trump or argue with them based upon just Trump being fucked up, because then they throw all these like things out of left field, where like they start talking about like the Soros, the lizard people, the pedophilia. It's like all this, out of space shit.
I have lizard people like me. Okay, that's great.
God,
they like Trump. Okay, that's great.
It's good lizard people and it's bad lizard people.
Lizard people, right? What kind of lizards? I don't like geckos, but I like Komodo dragons. Which
I never heard of the lizard people.
I mean, my guy.
I think that's just kind of the thing. It's like you can't really. He's the fucking. I don't know. He's M. Bison on Street Fighter Turbo. Like you can't. Like he'll keep whooping your ass. I don't know. Like the last person you got to fight on Killing Instinct, where it don't matter how good you think you are, he keep fucking you up.
How fast?
He's the final boss of American ignorance.
Right.
How fast?
That's a good point.
How fast is the AG up in New York waiting for January 20th?
Oh man, that's my point. That's my time to go out because.
Yeah, that's what this all really boils down to. He's making his money as best he can, and he's utilizing the time that he's got to protect himself from being held in the court of law. That's what he's doing. That's what he's really doing.
Please, I gotta go out, but please, I am not a God believing person. I'm just putting that out there, but please do not let Joe Biden pardon this dude for any
he ain't gonna pardon him. I don't think he's gonna pardon him.
No,
I don't think Joe Biden gonna pardon him. No, he's not.
I mean,
he's talking about healing, man.
Chris, if you're trying to save a prayer. You get robbed by a nigga. He got you at gunpoint. Don't use your one on that one. Don't use your since you've already put it out there that you ain't believing God. Use as atheist,
use
whatever.
It for a more stressing situation.
Use it when you in the foxhole. Don't use it for that nigga.
You ain't got to worry about that though, because all that stuff is state level. I can't think of a name right now.
That's a good point.
Letitia, I can't think of a name right now. That's all state level. The AG in New York. It's a sister. I can't think of a name right now. But all that stuff is state. It's state level.
I thought it was pre Bahara.
No, it's a sister. It's a sister, the AG up in New York. She's
well,
at least the South District, New York, whatever.
She look good too, don't she? That's why you remember.
Yeah, she's cutie. Yeah. So wait a minute, hold on. So you ain't got worried about that.
She's sexy. You know, Dean remember.
But you ain't got to worry about that because
what's her name?
All that state level. Yeah, what's her name? Cause if you bring it, I don't know if you can bring it up right quick. But all that stuff is state level. All that stuff is state level, Chris. It doesn't do. They can resurrect Ronald Reagan,
Letitia James.
Okay. They can resurrect Ronald Reagan and try to pardon him. Letitia's still gonna go off his ass. That's all state level stuff. That's all about the taxes. Because remember, this dude was writing off checks, paying Ivanka, and then writing them off talking about, you know what I'm saying, we gotta pay that. Giving this girl millions of dollars. Going around talking about, oh yeah, this condo was worth $1 million, but then on the insurance say it's worth $10 million. That's the shit that they own. Now she always says, like, listen, this is only, you know what I'm saying, tax type stuff. This isn't criminal. But if it goes criminal, we after his ass. So that's to like Hal said, all this is really trying to hold himself out so he won't be prosecuted. Also, too, although Robert Mueller didn't do shit with the whole Russia thing, but one question they kept asking him: once he's out of office, can he be prosecuted? He said yes, in less than a second. Yes, he get prosecuted. Yes, yeah. Trump knows this. He knows this. That's why he's trying to stay in office. Yeah, he knows.
And one of the unfortunate things, though, about him not being going through the complete process of impeachment was something I heard today, was that it also that keeps you from running from any office in America too. Like if he was to have gone through that whole process, if he was fully, he wouldn't be able to run for anymore. So that's an unfortunate. That unfortunately he's not going to go through that process, but it would have been nice if that was the case.
I think you guys are missing out. I think you guys are missing out one last strategy that he could kind of pull out his ass. He can pull a Julian Assange move. He can go to a country with non-extradition rights.
Dip out.
That has come up too. That has come up.
I mean,
he tried to dip out
into a country. Like Julian Assange, they've been trying to get back for like 10 damn years. So
they just tried to extradite him
in the UK. Yeah, the judge said they think that he'll commit suicide. They don't think the U.S. government, the U.S. I guess penal system, the prison system will keep him alive, which is probably true. But you know, I mean, the judge ain't lying. They probably will kill his ass. You know, ain't no telling who will come across him, but. But no, that's another
they called it the boys in Brazil when the Nazis went to South America. He'll be another boy in Brazil, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it don't even like he ain't. If he got half a brain, he ain't sticking around. I got money. I got enough money to last me the rest of my damn life. Yeah, I'm not sticking around for the fucking AG in New York.
Dave, his ego is too big. He ain't gonna do that.
Chris, you got it out.
Yeah, I gotta roll out, man. It's been great.
Good seeing you, Chris, man.
Hey, what before you go, man, I was gonna ask everybody because we about to wrap up anyway, but I was gonna say what MF Doom song do you think is most appropriate for the
for all this
right now?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolute power corrupts.
God, you took my answer. Man.
The man, especially with the police on there, the audio clip we've had, like the Terminator killed Tukey.
Yeah, that's a great. Me and Dave was talking earlier about that.
Yeah, I gotta listen to that.
I'm gonna flip that on as soon as I'm off here.
I might play it at the end of this if I put it on the podcast version.
Real quick with MF Doom, have we figured out exactly what took the brother out?
That probably ain't gonna happen for a long time
because he passed on Halloween,
if
right?
At all. Yeah,
man, that's a wild shit. His brother passed like months ago. It's just now nobody was checking for him. Like, I mean,
you don't check for Doom. Doom checks for you.
Exactly.
I have been corrected.
Exactly. Yeah.
Corrected. That's still fascinating.
Yeah, we'll tomorrow we should be you should check us out tomorrow. We're gonna have Greenweeds on talking about Doom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he hosted the show where they were at the Metro, and it was the show where they said they created a painter was there. He created the art that he used for Food. The cover of that album, they created the art at that show.
Oh, wow.
And that was like a legendary show at the Metro that he did.
Yeah, I love
the most legend. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Guzzo. I'm sorry.
I'll say I think that's probably the most legendary show that he actually did. I think the most talked about show in Chicago is probably the one where he didn't show up. But that's
Yeah, I mean, I was a Doom fan for real. I didn't follow him as closely as you all did. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I heard it, I definitely stopped and listened. But my favorite album was the one he did with Danger Mouse. That was probably right around the same time I was probably just finished smoking weed. So I was sitting like listening to that album all the time. And I would sit back
Was you watching Adult Swim at that time?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you definitely
it fell right into my lap, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." But like I said, I'm definitely a big fan of Doom. I never like followed his catalog like that, but whenever I heard him, whenever I listened to, I stopped to listen. You know,
since Chris said absolutely, I'll say off of that album, Crosshairs was another good rap where a lot of people talked, with Doom, a lot of his persona, a lot of stuff was sort of hidden behind the comic book persona and all this stuff when he put the mask on. But he had a lot of cogent and pointed raps about society. If you listen to him, and they're all over all his projects, and Crosshairs was a pretty good example of that as well. And that beat was dope that Danger Mouse did. That Lupe rhymed over that for his salute to him. I don't know if y'all heard that. It's got the strings and everything on that. Yeah, but yeah, if you see Lupe's salute to him, that's the same beat that he rapped on Crosshairs that Danger Mouse did for that album. But Dave, you got an answer right quick.
Yeah. That whatever I forgot where the hell that verse I sent you from. What song that was on?
That's from I think that's from Gazelle.
That is good. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one of my damn favorite lyrics. I mean, right when I
once say
the
once saw the inbred skinhead
a nigga joke. Yeah,
the joke on him when the
triggers broke. Yeah, he should have learned that fire
is separate.
You find out when he tries to go and rep it. Yeah.
You find out when he tried to rep it. Yeah. I saw Aaron for the Ever Torah. Good. It's hard. The best video is Mos Def reciting his lyrics though.
That was dope.
Y'all ever see that? Yeah. Cause you tell how much Mos loved him but to take the time to be able to recite his lyrics like that, you can tell he listened to him a lot. Because I listen to Doom a lot, and I gotta hear the song. I gotta recite it as the song go along. I can't just do it acapulco.
Yeah, he has one of the best. He has one of the best voices and cadence, like of all time.
Yeah, he did.
It's like so.
He did.
It's so distinct. You know what I'm saying? When you hear Doom,
he come from an era when you had to have a distinct voice in hip hop.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Everybody did back in the day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah.
Like it wasn't just the rhymes that you were saying; it was how you were saying them. Like you couldn't come out just sounding like everybody back then.
I remember the first time I heard them, I'm like, "Who? Like, what the hell is this?" And then I saw him, like, "Is that a Dr. Doom mask on his face?" I'm like, "Oh, maybe this is just a gimmick for his one album." I'm like, "Oh, he always does this?" I'm like, "Oh shit." Like this dude, this is a character right here. But like you said, Cuzzo, you had to stand out back then in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. You know what I'm saying? you just had to be so original, and it wasn't like this dude was a big commercial hit of an artist, but my God, he's like hip hop royalty. You know what I'm saying? He's a true legend when it comes to hip hop and rap, man. Around the world,
he truly influenced. Yeah, he truly influenced creative, especially creative people while he was here. He wasn't. So he's gonna sell way more records in his death than he ever did when he was alive.
Which usually happens.
The impact, that happens a lot, unfortunately. But the impact that he had on artists, when you look at the way that artists talked about him, from Flying Lotus to Odd Future to Lupe to so many of these creative people, you know, Q-Tip and, you know, Mos and, you know, so many. He was like Dilla a lot in that way. You know, I think you could speak more to this. When Dilla passed, there was a lot of us who we loved Dilla and we knew who he was, but he wasn't like he had brushed up against some big artists, but he wasn't like a Timbaland or Dr. Dre or Rizzo or Premier, nothing like that. He was just this dude that a certain bit of us had. But in his passing, the mainstream kind of find out just how much he influenced so many people who were, you know, bigger names than him and stuff, and how much he was essential to the progression of hip hop. And that's something that's going to happen with Doom as well.
Yeah, listen, I just went on Amazon. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was gonna say one of my favorite things about Doom is he took some mediocre Nas albums and made them classics. And that's, I mean, his, you know, the in between albums between Steelmatic and It Was Written. I can't even think about the Nostradamus and
all that.
Yeah, Nostradamus. That's one of the greatest remix projects ever.
Man, I like.
I don't think I've heard that before.
You listen to this shit. It's like you gotta listen to it. The piece, he took like him, and then not to go on a tangent, but like Ninth, they took like Nas's most mediocre. I don't say or just mediocre albums, and made pieces of art out of them shits. And they were making.
Where can I find it? Where can I find it?
That Piff.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah,
it's out there. I'll send you a link, but not Nostradamus in particular, because like you know, like what Knife did with Godson, like Godson, of course it wasn't a great album, but for me it was passable.
It was better. Yeah, no, definitely.
But Nostradamus, nobody liked Nostradamus.
Oh, that shit was terrible.
With Doom, I don't even know if Doom did it himself, but whoever did it had the idea, was masterful to put those particular beats, because Doom has so many beats that weren't being used. Like, it made sense to put them with someone, and to put them with Nas, it was just the greatest idea, especially with these songs that people didn't really, they weren't feeling them as much as they, you know, as Nas would have wanted them. And you know, it's incredible just on that alone. That's some real underground stuff, because you know, the stuff that he properly released, people got to catch up to that. But to think of like that, it's another thing where it's like man, not somebody should have just locked him in the studio, because with Doom, it just was like, y'all got to come up with something. But if either one of y'all want to get out, because I could imagine that it's hard. It's hard to work with either one of those guys, and it would probably be really hard for them to work together. But you'd have to put them on some Guantanamo Bay stuff, and just like, we gonna chain y'all together, and y'all better put an album out if you gonna come out of this room. But
it's a lot of cats. It's a lot of cats like that you think like, man, I wish they would have worked together, or wish they would have did something to kind of, like you said, kind of locked them in and just kind of made some classic hip hop stuff. Just kind of wish they would have did that. I mean, send me that. I never heard of that. I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, that, and then also that album, that off album he did, that where he's using a pseudonym, King Geedra. I was listening to that shit. When I found out he died, I was listening to that, and I was like, God, where the hell he be getting them damn samples? Here you go. It's just the way that album comes on. I mean, it's just like, it's really, it's it's kind of got like a romance beat to it or something like that, and it's really lush. Like those first 3 couple songs on the album are really, really strong. That like Fast Lane, I think is what Nas used for will sample for like Last Days for Nas, and it was just like the samples that he was using that ended up on that Nas album. They were pulling, they created some fire, and ironically enough, there's some great ass mixtapes that come out of just kind of like those compilation. Doom and other people. So yeah, it's dope. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nostradamus. I have never heard.
His version of Project Windows is a million times better than hearing Ronald Isley whine on that shit.
And now, I was thinking like I could probably find all this on YouTube. I'm sure I can just find everything he did on YouTube.
Yeah, so. Just search it on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I do that. Like I said, man, I love Doom. I didn't follow him like that, but when I listened to him, when I heard him, I'm like, oh shit, it's some Doom.
Yeah, he
even did he do one with Kaiser? What's the joint? What's the group that Spectre Deck? Oh man, what's the name of that group that he was with?
Starface. Yeah, he did. He did an actual album with Starface.
He did an album with them, right? Okay, I think that's the last thing. I think that's the last thing that I listened to from him.
Yeah,
that's the last.
Yeah, that's one of the last proper things he put out. Yeah. He was, and like a couple. I just listened to a joint today that I hadn't heard. It was a remix of a joint that I heard before, but the remix came out I guess it came out in 2020. It said because it said it on YouTube, but yeah, he put out a joint with Bad Not Good in the past couple of months.
Yeah.
And the joint with Flying Lotus. Yeah. Hopefully he does the Flying Lotus said they might have an EP that comes out. Hopefully that happens. So yeah, he was, he came for you. You didn't come for Doom. Like so.
That's a great way to frame it. Somebody I listened to recently that reminded me of Doom, but just more a little bit out there is JPEG Mafia. He's just like all over the fucking place. If you've ever watched the People's Champ interview with him, it's one of the greatest things you ever see. It's
a lot of yeah. I was talking to my guy Corey a little earlier. He was like, he don't listen to nothing that ain't hot past 2005 now. He was all he was all hyping. He was hyping me on the whole E40 Too Short battle.
Did y'all see that?
He said that's all he listened to right now.
Oh man,
I don't really watch them battles no more, man. But
you don't? That was
yeah. I mean, it's cool. I might check them after the fact, like say, see how they play out. But I was just saying, like with C, he's like, I'll listen to the young boys. They, I said like it's some of the new guys have stuff. The funny thing is, a lot of the new guys are like 35 years old now, so that's one thing. But even with some of the younger guys, you get stuff that is worth hearing from time to time. And I think a lot of it is because of people like Doom and how he really influenced in an independent way a lot of these guys who, grew up, taking tracks from blogs and on message boards, and they grew up directly under his type of music that existed, a little bit left of center. And, so, for better or worse, a lot of guys who are popular now, like a JPEG Mafia, like they was like Playboy Cardi was shouting them out, like, and that's the one who I wouldn't have expected.
Really?
To list. Yeah.
Oh my God, that dude is terrible.
So
it don't mean they don't like Seth. The whole thing.
No.
I say it's better or worse.
They may not learn anything. I mean, like you can have good taste and just be bad at what the hell you do.
Very true. Oh my God, very true.
Very true. There are a lot of people like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a thing that my guy Anton put on our little text chain, like favorite hip hop artists, most like one that you dislike, one is overrated, You know what I'm saying? One that kind of grew on you and the GOAT. And I was like, I really don't dislike anybody. I try not to live like that. You know what I'm saying? But then I was like, well, I got to put something on.
I hate listening to people. Like,
yeah, I don't hate. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? If I don't like you, I just don't vibe with you. I might hear it one time, like, that's not for me. But salute you. You could be out here doing something a lot worse with your life, but you making music, you're doing something good. Matter of fact, go ahead and do it. But I was like, well, let me put something on here. So I went to my Amazon Music, and I was like, all right, let me just go to something current hip hop. And I was like, Playboy Cardi. I'm like, okay. I clicked it. I'm like, oh, I don't like this. So I just wrote his name. Like, I never heard him before, but I don't like this song. So, but you do have a lot of people. It's like, oh my God, you are terrible, but you have good taste. So
yeah. That's the whole irony of it. I mean, I ain't much of the fans for the young boys, but I see something. I see a pair of shoes or something they wearing now. Like I was like, oh, that's some nice shit. But I may not agree with anything else in that person's head, but you can respect, and I think. And I think to that point, like JPEG Mafia was when he interviewed with Kweli on the People's Champ. He mentions that Most is a fan of his, and he loses his shit. Like Kweli mentions that Most is a fan of JPEG, and that's how he even found out about JPEG, and he loses his shit because he's like, I don't even think that you guys would be fucking with me because I'm out here. Yeah. So you never know.
Yeah, I mean, if you put out anything quality, you put out something quality wise, or you get a nice little buzz, people are bound to find you. People are bound to hear you. You know what I'm saying? You're doing something.
And I'm all for those interactions, man, because I think it helps the young boys do better. Because I think you look at a guy like Corday. He was running around with that. Yeah, but at first he was running around with the YBN boys and doing a bunch of forgettable stuff, but then like a lot of older people started paying attention to him and started, collaborating with him and stuff. And then he put out that nice solo album, and now he's doing his thing now. So it's like, nice. You got to provide some direction for these young boys.
You just can't say they trash and leave them alone. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not a fan. Like I'm not a fan really of Jeezy. I never really have been. He's cool, but I like him though. I like him. I like him just, saying the dude that he is. I like him as a dude. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy.
Jeezy was a what's it called? What's it called? Acquired taste for me. I always was like somebody else is doing what he does better. So I wasn't like fully invested.
Yeah, like Ross. Like Ross. I wasn't like a big fan of Ross. I like Ross older. I mean, not a little older. I like Ross more current stuff for the past maybe like 3 or 4 years. Except the fact that he's like a biter of another dude's whole lifestyle. But it's whatever. But his rhymes, so I'm like, oh, okay, all right, you pretty good. No, you pretty good.
Ross actually put in work to improve himself.
He did. He really did.
That's not something that you typically see in hip hop. Usually, artists are their best when they start and they just decline. But Ross is actually he went up. He had a little bit of a decline, but he's kept himself as sort of a nice steady pace now, and he's a person where I could listen to him he did 2 of the best guest verses of the past year to me on the Gibbs joint with Alchemist, the Scotty Beam joint. That's a great verse.
Yeah,
and he did a great verse on the Benny album with Hit Boy. Like I like that track that they did together. So he's not a guy who and he was on the Buster joint. I like that joint too. That he did with Buster. Yeah. That album.
Yeah, he has improved.
He's not a guy who I'm like, when I see his name on the track, I'll be like, okay, I can listen to the track.
Right. Yeah. Like I put overrated. I put Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, Lil Wayne. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Wayne now, I was like, I can't listen to this. I can't listen to it. It's been like that for a while.
Yeah.
He's like Black Keith Richards.
Like at 13, like
shit. Like, that's exactly what his ass is like. Like you surprised he's still alive and shit. Like you ain't dead.
His mixtape run was phenomenal. I never thought that I think he, in my opinion, put out. I don't know. We like veering hard from MF Doom. But I think for me personally, I think I liked that that album, that Carter 3 was probably the strongest. And that was really it to me personally. You have other guys, man. Tony, younger cats, Melvin, all the guys, they kind of grew up, with him. They love him, But I'm like,
you talk about guys who they output maybe question, but they had decent taste. He liked Little Brother. He appeared on a Little Brother album.
He sure did.
Rhymed over loving it.
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, and that's the whole thing about it is, they have good, but the shameful part, or we can even go better use Aubrey. But I mean, the shameful part is like you got to just being on somebody's shit.
Aubrey rhymed over Doom to surprisingly.
But that's the whole thing.
Or Mad Lib. He rhymed over Mad Lib.
Yeah. But you know what? I don't mind Aubrey. I don't mind Aubrey. I don't.
Dave minds.
I don't mind Drake. Drake is fine. Drake is fine. He makes some music. Yeah, listen, but you know what? What was that one album? Oh man, he had a couple of tracks. No. He has oh man.
I don't even know niggas albums outside of the first one.
It was one album where he had like a few cuts that sound like some house tracks. It's like it was kind of like some influence. I think he was.
That probably was.
It was a teenage.
See, the one song he did like that I like is Passion Fruit. Passion Fruit is a good song. Yeah.
Yes.
That is a good song, regardless of who made it.
Yes.
But that's more life. That's more life.
The only song I always feel myself catchy feels like fucking Truffle Butter, and then I have to cut it off at Lil Wayne's verse. Like I love that motherfucking beat.
That beat is nice.
That beat. I mean, it's a house song. It's called What They Say. It's by Maya somebody, and I love that fucking beat. I play that. But like I have to cut it off when Lil Wayne comes on because he just goes in left field.
I don't mind Aubrey. Drake is fine.
You never know how many double cuts he brings into the studio session.
What'd you say? Cause
some of his verses he just had too much in the double cup when he brought it into the studio. So
he drank a whole bottle of Tussin. For some of that, maybe talking. Surprise he not. Yeah. I don't know. Aubrey most of the times is praline and dick to me, but for there's occasions where he does well. Yeah. I don't.
So you're not gonna check out Certified Lover Boy? Or,
what?
That's what it's called.
Is that the name of his album?
What?
That's his new album that's coming out.
Certified Lover Boy?
That's his new album that's coming out. Oh. I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. I'll listen to it. I'll check it out.
I gotta give him the Conway face. Nah. It's just I can't do this shit. Nah. I can't do this shit. I gotta give him
Dave, do you like Dave? I'm guessing.
That is bad as what you sent me earlier.
What's that?
The tweet you sent me earlier, Cal. Ain't as bad as that shit.
But Dave, did you rock out to LL though?
To whom?
LL. Did you rock out to LL back in the day?
I think. Listen. So first of all, it's kind of like comparing Aubrey to LL is like comparing Rick Ross to the real Rick Ross. This
is my point. This is my point. Only reason why I'm saying. Now listen, LL's probably in the top 10. Only reason why I bring this up is because a lot of people did look at LL as kind of like, oh, he was this light-skinned brother. I don't want to get into the colorism thing, but good-looking brother. Ladies loved him. LL was obviously
he wasn't a rap about love. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I look at Drake. I don't know if he falls off the tree of LL, but the character, in a sense, I can kind of see it. Like he can get rough sometimes, but he can be also like, you know what I'm saying, kind of LL never sung anything, but you know what I'm saying, he's kind of like in that same.
Well, one thing, or he said about the MC. Well, he said that he kind of took his prototype from Fonte, being a hybrid. But the singer, the rapper turns or singer or singer turned rapper, whatever.
That's his direct influence. Yeah.
Yeah. So with LL, I think the difference with him is that one, it is, I don't know, something about Aubrey feels like appropriation. Like there's like
Really?
cultural appropriation with him. Yeah, like the fucking dance hall shit. Like he ain't Jamaican. The fuck is like what? You like? There's a
I
couple.
mean, but Snoop put out a Jamaican. He's going by Snoop Lion. Is that appropriate?
Don't nobody like that either.
You ain't compare. Listen,
I'm
you're
not
not
saying
gonna
what
have
they
a
did.
comparison. You're not gonna compare Snoop Dogg to fucking Drake to me. That's
No,
not.
all I'm trying to say, you said appropriating.
And one
Snoop
thing,
ain't Jamaican.
Snoop, yeah, he smokes enough weed to be Jamaican. There's kind of, I mean, I think so. So I give Snoop a honorary Jamaican because he smokes as much, the weed. But like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, but Aubrey feels like a lot of his stuff feels like appropriation. I mean, like he's appropriating.
I think he appropriates Southern culture more than Jamaican.
Well, no, that was just the one thing. But yeah, like the Southern, like all that stuff like that. And just because your daddy live in Memphis, don't mean that's your culture.
I mean, but we have to be honest though. At least if you want to go mainstream commercial hip hop, this has been his decade. A little bit longer than that.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my issue. My issue lies in that where he really didn't have to go through any. He didn't really pay much dues. I would say.
He did.
And when you look at an LL, if you want to compare it to an LL, as soon as LL put out "I Need Love," half the industry was wanting to diss him.
They did, right? They sure did. Yeah.
And he put out a couple of those albums in the late '80s. Like he had to put out an album where he was saying, "Don't call it a comeback." He was only 6 years in the game.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah. What was Drake? 6 years in the game, Drake thought he owned the world. So he got the game handed to him in a way that very few rappers have ever got the game handed.
And he ain't even America. Fuck. I'm like, he ain't even, I mean, from Toronto. I mean, like, I don't even know. That's the point that I'm trying to make. I'm like, there's, like this is, I just like I don't know, he's the Terrence and Phillip of hip hop. Like they would have, or like the Justin, like I don't know, or Justin Bieber of hip hop. I'm like, hey, I like Justin Bieber, more than the fucking Aubrey right now. I was like,
damn. Oh wow, Dave. Okay.
Dave don't pull no punches when it comes to Aubrey.
I see. I mean, listen, I'm sure somebody that I can rip like that too.
I mean, it's just I don't. There's like I said before, he just doesn't have really much of a soul. He's like a Tesla. I mean, there's nothing. There's something that just really makes me feel like he doesn't invoke emotion, nigga. I don't want you know what to tell you. I'm like, this is not like, what do you? Yeah,
when I see him, I want to punch his soulless face.
And my whole thing is like, he's
the Josh Hawley of hip hop.
I guess so.
I mean, it's just there's nothing. I mean, I don't know the Jew Negro thing. There may be I don't know what it is, but there's nothing about him that just makes me feel
nothing moves you. I got you.
There's I gotta
find a way to evoke a Drake rant from Dave.
Went way off. That was way off. I mean, I don't
think it is.
No, hey, Dave, what you think about Drake? That motherfucker.
I mean, look. Look, it's not. I don't know what to say about it, but it's just he's not for me, as you would put it in the thing. Yeah, that's where.
Yeah, man. We all got.
We all got people.
I just to your point is that to Kyle's point, he has come in the game and he's taken he's had a large influence in it, and there's not. Yeah, there was no dues paid. There was no, there was no dues paid. There was nothing and there's nothing about him that just seems, what's that term called? Yeah. It's genuine. It's like I'm like, if you were, if you actually, the people you associate with, you're not a part of their life. You're like the I don't know, I don't say token white dude, but you kind of like that in some instances.
He's sort of like the Prince family's little mascot.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's like He's like Mike. He's like Mike. Like he's kind of like a Mike Rappaport, but Mike Rappaport has more credibility in him because Mike, he's I don't even, like kind of like he's that person where like, oh, I hung out with these guys, so I'm an honorary Negro, and that, yeah, I mean, what do you want from, that's sorry.
Dave, yeah, when Dave hears Drake say the N word, he feels the same way that when Rappaport says it.
Yeah.
I mean,
when Rappaport says the N word, that's the same way that everybody else feels when Dave hears Drake say it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it. I don't really know what else. Yeah, I think so. Point is, they're much better. I think and I also think the thing is that probably also what tricks me about it is that everybody, like, he seems to be universally palatable, and for what, and I don't, and across board you hear, you grown niggas listen to him, young niggas listen to him. It's like,
across the board,
yeah, and I used to live next door to some goons, and them motherfuckers every summer be listening to Marvin's Room,
man.
and I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, y'all here trapping, and you listen, during that time and drinking and talking to 2 a.m. The daytime you listen to Marvin's Room. I was like, what is going on here?
It's like weird stuff.
It's like some dudes that you never think. I mean, back in the day, 63rd Street, and next thing you know, they're playing Off the Wall. Yeah, crazy shit happens.
Right. that's the dude, the thug dudes who Charlie Murphy was talking about. Listen to
put on that zap,
Shalimar.
Yeah.
Oh, they look like Shalimar. Oh yeah, look, you dressed like Shalimar.
Yeah, they look. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, but I don't know. I guess Tidy and Doom dying is just like capping off 2020, and it's like crazy shit. It's kind of over with the fuck what happened today. It's kind of like an overflow into this year. You're just hoping.
Yeah, that's the thing. We got to worry about 21 being even worse than 20 now, man.
I knew it was going to start. It was going to start off crazy. I think we might get some way back to some type of sense of normalcy, maybe like in the spring or summertime. This winter, you know what I'm saying?
No,
the same winter moving over from 2020. I think it's going to be like that. Maybe the spring, you know what I'm saying, might be a little bit better.
I was watching like Inside Edition and one. Yeah, no, I mean,
gotta keep it positive.
Yeah, but the unfortunate thing is that once we get back to some normalcy, motherfuckers gonna be losing their mind. Everybody gonna be outside with no mask on, like today at the Capitol. That's the other part of it. It's like motherfuckers like, oh, I got the vaccine, I'm invincible now. It's just gonna be like everybody gonna be raw dogging. And for lack of a better term, out no mask. It's a problem.
Well, that's why we gotta rely on medical science to save us. That's pretty much been the case of modern civilization. We've kept on running into our own. We kept on running towards our own destruction, but medical science is really the only reason why we're still alive and kicking.
Yeah, but I mean, we got. I don't say we got cure for AIDS. We got control for AIDS and HIV, and motherfuckers will still wear hats. So I hope that even when a vaccine comes, you still wear a mask. I mean,
let's hope so.
I mean, or still not be as or at least not being close up on people, as what happened today.
Stop just touching just touching random barricades and throwing them into the windows of the Capitol. You don't need that.
Hey, Mike Judge, you wonder what like people like Mike Judge, where he been at like right now, like what, like we need somebody to speak for America. Like
he said some more Beavis and Buttheads are coming.
Oh, well, that's good news, but I just need something like Idiocracy or something. What is it called? Coming back out, like that's what I mean. Like
he can't even top that now, though. He can't even top that now. Like,
hey, it's COVID. People, it's COVID. Somebody made a movie about COVID. I mean, like recently, and I forgot the shit's called COVID 23 or something like that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was trash. But the point is, you can still make a movie imitating life, even if it's crazy. You just got to be, maybe a little bit more artful with it. Maybe like,
Dude, do you know how many movies?
I'm just thinking about the movies that will come out that will just be reflecting what actually happened in the past year or so. Like, you know, however if it's documentaries or dramatizations, whatever it is, it's gonna be some wildness that's gonna come.
Where the hell
inspired by the last 12 months?
Where the hell is Oliver Stone or fucking Scorsese? I hope you don't make. I mean, this is the movie that should be like this. Should be his Scorsese's follow up from The Wolf of Wall Street. This dude, motherfucker, right now. I mean, they all New York guys, so I'm pretty sure he knows him. So this is the movie he should be making about Trump. This should be his last thing. If he does any, maybe this is his last movie. But him or Oliver Stone should be making a movie about this motherfucker, for real. Because I think
Stone made a movie about W pretty quick after his presidency.
He did.
Maybe you're right.
Fingers crossed. Because we need somebody to.
Let's leave it at that, y'all. I appreciate y'all sitting in. That was a great couple hours of conversation. I'm able to share enough laughs to beat off the sadness. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, the shock. That's what the WTF.
But not the sadness so much as just the whatever, like the melancholy is probably a little bit more accurate, but it's a distinct feeling of like, what is next, what else is we gonna see? But yeah, like I said, we'll try to get on tomorrow and talk some Doom, and I've got some other stuff lined up coming up. Try to get this 2021 geared up in a good way and do something that helps stem the tide of the nonsense that everybody else wants to engage in. So we're here for another year. We are RegalRadio.com, War on Anchor, and War on YouTube. Everything. Keep following us, keep liking, subscribing, and doing all that good stuff. Anything you guys want to take us out on?
Yeah, if you want to make America great again, adopt a child from a Trump supporter. Get them while they're young, so they can't spread the fuckery. Yeah.
Just I don't know if I can
give a Trump supporter a vasectomy like D.
Yeah, that too.
Damn. I was gonna say maybe some education, maybe an education at a school that's not in West Virginia, but I wasn't gonna go to eugenics route.
That's a little bit good. When they go low, we go lower.
I would say, man, just try to understand civics in this country, the country that you live in. Try to understand how the government actually works. A lot of people don't understand that. Try to find some credible news sources. Don't get pulled into conspiracy theories. Don't follow anybody who has people that has lizard people followers. Don't follow them people. Don't follow people who have lizard people followers. Don't do that. And just be aware of your surroundings, aware of your environment, aware of your people. And just be cool with each other, man. That's all I gotta say.
And I think people got to realize that the real power. I'm just kind of stealing a phrase from Prodigy, interestingly enough, but it's sort of born from the '60s too. The real power is in the people. And
you damn right.
When we can't allow ourselves to be bamboozled, whether you on the left or the right, you can't allow ourselves to be bamboozled by anybody, no matter what their background is, whatever fame, whatever money we think they have. Like so much of this stems from that too. I think today it's like these people wanted to please a man who, like you say, D, who obviously doesn't give a damn about them. He just wants to be indulgent in his power that he didn't deserve in the first place. So we need to raise up the people in society who prove themselves worthy of these positions and let them and force them to do the work that they say that they want to do. We can't allow this to happen again and let a person like Donald Trump ever come close to the halls of power again, because if he does, we know exactly what's going to happen. There's no more. No, people tried to play it off back in 15 when he started running, in 16 won. It was like, oh, it can't be that bad. We've seen bad presidents before. No, there was nothing that was going to be worse than him, and that's just what the fuck played out. And now we know.
What was it, that joke Eddie Murphy had when Harold Washington was running for mayor, and he was like, "We're gonna get drunk and vote for Harold Washington." Get drunk and vote for Harold Washington. Be like, "Oh fuck, he won." That's what happened. You don't want that to happen again. I mean, like, people didn't take it seriously, and unfortunately, we are all paying the price. I mean, you put your hand in the dog's mouth and you get bit, and get surprised you get bit.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, well, D, keep take us out on that famous phrase. Then he just made me think of that.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Oh, that would have been great. That would have been great to start the fucking show with. That'd have been great to start the show with. Shit, end the show.
But he always said it at the end of show.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Like, we could have put a clip of the video of what happened today, and then have D tie him in and say, "Keep your hands to yourself."
Keep your hands to yourself. So many ways.
We should have made T-shirts of that years ago.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We should have made T-shirts of that years ago.
We can still do it. All right, boys.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
All right, fellas.
Anywho. All right, man.
I guess it's tomorrow, Dave.
All right, see you tomorrow. All right, peace.